Hello, welcome to the channel. My name is John. This is NAR Outdoors, and I wanted to give you guys a 1-week update of my use of the Suunto Ocean as a daily watch and as an activity watch. I want to go over some things I found that I really like, some things I think that need to be changed, and I will go into the dive mode quibbles I've noticed briefly. So let's get started. So first and foremost, this thing has been super comfortable. I have worn it every day for the past 7 days. And the first thing I want to let you guys know about is battery life. So I'm at 49%. I took this off the charger 1 week ago in the morning and have not charged it since. So battery life has been fantastic. I've got it set up with the daily heart rate, and I have used it for 2 about hour-long mountain bike rides where GPS was enabled. So plenty of battery life, far better than the Apple Watch I'm coming from. Really like that. Second thing, display has been fantastic. I have been super happy with it. It's very crisp, it's very bright. So I'm really happy with the user interface. It's pretty straightforward. While it is primarily designed to be used with the buttons, click up, click down, select, it also, above the surface, does have the option of using the touch screen. So swipe down to go to your sporting activities, swipe up to go to settings, as well as your widgets and other data you may want on a daily basis. I've also really liked the way, and unfortunately I don't have a notification to show you, I really like the way that the call notifications and the text notifications are displayed. They're bright, they're easy to read, easy to cycle through, and it does mesh well with the phone that you're using. So it will, when you clear it on here, clear it on the phone. If you clear it on the phone, it clears it on here. And then the last thing is, there are just absolutely tons of options for different activities. Lots that I'm not going to use, but they're there for you if you need them. So don't be surprised if you have an activity you want to try and find a option for it. So that's just a brief go over with that. Now, as with everything that is good, there are some bad things. So these are my cons of this watch. One of which I'm going to see if I can show you real quick. Let me get back to the home screen. So we're going to pause for a second. I'm going to have it go into its always on display, and then I'll show you kind of a little niggle that I don't really like. So always on display displays your time, and the theory is when you raise it up to your face or click a button, it goes to the watch face. This moves around a bit, and it's a little annoying to me because when I do go into the watch face, it shifts where the numbers are. And it's more prominent for different watch faces. The watch does give you the ability to pin one of the widgets to the center button here. So I have notifications pinned, but there's an opportunity to have a swipe function gesture to have another widget over here. I think I would use it for media control personally. Another con is there's no security to it. So your texts are going to get displayed on here, even if you're not wearing the watch. There's no pin you have to enter in or anything like that. The watch faces themselves, there are plenty of options to customize them. I've been using this one and I like it so far. The one that it starts with is this, which is dive specific, and I'm liking my options. I'm not really thrilled with the ability to customize these beyond this though. So you can change the color, great, and you can tap through these to change the display, the secondary displays. But I kind of wish I could actually choose the specific secondary displays. I don't like the way the date is displayed. I wish it was day of the week, space, month, space, or dot, or whatever you want to do to separate them to day of the month. And the other watch face I have used is the dive one. Little niggle with this is it does not let you change these secondary options. So that's a little bit disappointing. I do like the way that's displayed better though. That is how I want to see my month, my days of the week, and my day of the month displayed. I don't know why that's a forced setting here, but not an option for the others. The last big complaint I have for this is the sensor they use for the blood oxygen. It's just wrong. 88% is the point where people receive supplemental oxygenation in a hospital or emergency setting, and I know mine's not this because I checked it against a fingertip medical grade pulse oximeter, which read 96, 97. So for sports mode, I'm really happy with it. It does display plenty of data. You can pair this with ANT sensors, and I plan on pairing this with a heart rate sensor specifically. I like the fact that it has you get set up and it displays which thing you're waiting on. So it's waiting on heart rate, it's waiting on GPS, and it's waiting to pair with my sensor. You can also bypass it. You can change the settings from this initial screen with how you want it. And you can just go into it. Now it does give you the option to bypass the GPS, so we're going to dismiss this because we're inside. Main screen shows your speed, your heart rate, your distance traveled, and your time traveled. And then the 3 buttons display different things. So the top button goes back to kind of the menu option. The middle button cycles through screens. And the bottom button is going to give you your lap time. As I mentioned before, it does pair with different sensors. So I'm going to be using the heart rate belt for this. I'm probably not going to use the bike pod that I've got paired to it, for the simple fact that it will only pair to one of each type at a time. It will only save one of each type at a time. So I have 4 different bikes. They all have bike pods on them. And I don't want to go in and have to repair it every time for each bike I'm going to ride. Other computers, like the Wahoo computer I use as a head unit, saves the different ones, and that isn't an issue. And the reason I'm going to be using that heart rate belt is actually one of the cons for this. If your primary use for this is going to be a sports watch and the secondary use is going to be a dive watch, you may be better served with something else, because this is heavy. It's bulky compared to other sports watches. And for me, I don't have small wrists, but it flops around on my wrist and kind of bumps around with the mountain biking I do. I would imagine that trail runners might have a problem, but for hiking and walking, for triathletes, this will probably be fine. But again, if you're primarily looking at this for a sports watch, you're probably going to be better off getting something like a Suunto Vertical or something else, and then a dedicated dive computer like a Zoop or a Viper. Here's an example on the left side of your screen of the app display from my actual ride. It's pretty cool. It has a 3D map generated route trace. I think that's really, really neat, which probably doesn't matter as much for me as it might for other people, but it's still pretty cool. Additionally, you have all your normal stats like heart rate, highs, lows, corresponding with the speed, all the sort of thing as you'd want to see recorded. Right, lastly, I want to briefly touch on diving with this. Now, I have not gotten a chance to dive it. I'm probably not going to get a chance for another 2 or 3 weeks. I'm not a full-time diver. I have a day job. I have a family. It's okay though. I may get some pool time with it. We'll see. And let me just address something in my last video. Someone put out a comment about the Garmin as an option. And you're right. The Garmin is a more capable computer. The Garmin has a 200 depth rating, 200 meter depth rating. and has advanced tech diving capabilities. This one doesn't. And that's fine, because this isn't meant for that. And 99% of the people that are divers, that are certified divers, will never need beyond what this offers. Yes, there are some people that will. You're probably going to be better suited with a dedicated tech diving computer than the Garmin. So don't let that data point change your mind about this for recreational diving. And it still gets you down to almost 200 feet. You can do mixed gas tech diving with it. You can't do CCR, and you can't do trimix or kind of weird gases, but that's such a minority of people. I'm not worried about it. So this is the dive watch face. It has your countdown for no fly. It will also display a no fly little notification there. And then to enter in dive mode, we go up. I really like that by entering dive mode, it gives you the option to change what you need right there. So you can change your gases, change it to nitrox, you can change your setting, change it to, whatever it might need to be. It has the same function where it's gonna tell you if everything is green to go. So one of the features is this can display or produce a map of your dive underwater. It needs the GPS to be located on the surface to be able to do that. It can record heart rate underwater. I'm gonna be disabling that, I don't care. I'm probably gonna be wearing it over a dry suit or a wetsuit anyway, so it's not gonna be measuring it. It does give you your maximums. Again, I'm not going past 130, it doesn't matter. Now, one of the problems I have with this, and this is like a giant shame on you, Suunto, is that there is no compass. As other people have mentioned, there is no compass. And Suunto started as a compass manufacturer. Like, I almost feel like you should find a way to incorporate a compass into your headphones, because that's your thing. So giant shame on you, Suunto. Having said that, I know some of you are just looking at the specs and say, hey, it doesn't have a compass, I don't need it. I want something else, I want something with a compass. If you've ever actually tried to use an electronic compass underwater, it sucks. If you're gonna be doing something that needs a compass, get a compass. Get a Suunto compass. Get something like this. But it is an oversight. It is available in the freediving mode. It's available in the surface mode. It's just, why didn't you include it in the diving mode? And then there's kind of two use cases for this computer as well. So some people are going to use air integration. Some people are going to use a standard gauge, and this is just a dive computer. I am someone who uses air integration. I like it. It's just one less dangly thing off of me. It allows me to record a little more data in here. And I think Suunto made a mistake with design of this when it comes to air integration. I feel personally that there's plenty of space here. As soon as you pair that tank pod, which we're gonna do right now, as soon as you pair that tank pod, your tank pressure should be always on the primary display. And I made a mock-up in a photo editing app I'll display right now. Basically, the idea is you move all of this up, move your dive time to the bottom, and put your tank display here. Split the arch so that this side has your NDL, this side has your tank pressure. And then you can still have your bottom to move through your different secondary display functions. And I'm hoping that this is something that can be updated in firmware releases, app updates, all that good stuff. I do think this display is going to be plenty bright. It's as bright as my Shearwater, so I'm not worried about that. And again, if you're not going to use air integration, it doesn't matter. But if you're going to use air integration, I do think that makes a difference, and that might make a difference for whether or not you end up getting this as your primary dive watch or primary dive computer. So yeah, they're my thoughts. hopefully I'll get to dive this in the next month, and I will have some more thoughts on it at that point. And hopefully Suunto will make a couple updates to the software to address some of this stuff. I also should add that between the watch and the app, there's no capability for dive planning. I think that's an oversight. I know they've got it in others of their software. Hopefully that will be addressed. So my recommendations for Suunto are as follows. 1, give me a swipe right. Let me pin a widget over here so I can use it. I'm probably going to use it for audio. 2, fix your oxygenation sensor. I don't know if it's an algorithm, if I have a bad watch, I'm not certain, but that's ridiculous. 3, give us a compass in dive mode. You have the capability built in. It's in free diving mode. Why isn't it in dive mode? You're a compass manufacturer. Come on, guys. 4, in dive mode, I would like to see the tank pressure always on the primary display. Again, take a look at the mock-up. And 5, we need some sort of dive planning option. That's kind of important. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. There will be further updates as I get a chance to use this more. I will have a dive-specific review with some footage of the watch underwater compared to my shearwater, so you can take a look at the display quality. Like, subscribe.
No roar!